Welcome to the Kansas Ag Report. I'm Ken Rogers. On the program today, we talk about the recent announcements on trade with Aaron Harries, Kansas Wheat, and Suzanne Ryan-Numrich with the Kansas Department of Agriculture. Also, some reaction from the President's announcement of year-round E15 ethanol. We'll also have reports from Kansas Corn, Kansas Wheat, and the Kansas Farm Bureau, and our weekly updates from the Kansas Livestock Association and Paragon Ag Advisors.
Closed captioning brought to you by Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farmers and ranchers since 1919. KFB.org. Kansas Wheat Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com. Kansas Livestock Association, supporting our members' business interests to meet consumers' demands. KLA.org.
Well, President Trump moved ahead with the plans to allow for year-round sale of E15 fuel bans, a move that's been hailed by the U.S. ethanol industry. Biofuel groups say the move will bring a bit more certainty to the marketplace for farmers and should bring about a rise in corn demand. Kansas First District Congressman Dr. Roger Marshall said this is another big win for the biofuels industry and also for Kansas consumers who will be able to purchase high-quality, high-octane, cleaner fuel at a lower price. And lifting the regulations, a great victory for Kansas. He's thankful that the President and Acting EPA Director Wheeler put the farmers and consumers first. USDA Secretary Sonny Perdue said that President Trump again made it abundantly clear that he's unleashing the full potential of American energy production as they retake the rightful place as the world leader. He thanked the President for his steadfast support of E15 expansion, also acknowledged the close working relationship that they've developed with Acting EPA Administrator Andrew Wheeler. He said he looks forward to working with the EPA to see rulemaking and year-round E15 completed by the driving season of next year. But the American Fuel and Petrochemical Manufacturer CEO Chet Thompson reportedly has said the only certainty from the actions is a lawsuit. Now, regardless, a small demand month for corn is likely. National Corn Grower Association President Lynn Crisp said the corn farmers have advocated for the move because it will grow demand, provide consumers with more options at the pump, and improve the economic conditions across rural America. Well, the National Ag Statistics Service has concluded data collection for the 2017 Census of Agriculture. Census was mailed to more than 84,000 known and potential farms and ranches across Kansas, and Kansas finished with a 69.9% response rate. Well, Farm Bill Conference Committee leaders are at odds over the commodity title. Senator Debbie Stabenow claims that House Committee Chairman Mike Conaway has politicized the Farm Bill with a provision that would take tens of millions of dollars from Midwestern farmers for cotton growers in the South. The 2014 Farm Bill expired at the end of September. Lawmakers are expected to finish the Farm Bill following the November election in a lame duck session. We'll have more about trade coming up in just a moment on the Kansas Ag Report.
Hi, I'm Sue Schulte with Kansas Corn, and here's what's going on with the Kansas Corn Growers Association and the Kansas Corn Commission. While the Commission invests checkoff dollars into market development, education, promotion, and research, the Association represents KCGA members in policy and regulatory issues. Here's an update on trade. Trade is an area of concern, and Kansas Corn continues to work with NCGA and our trade development partners like U.S. Grains Council and the U.S. Meat Export Federation. Tariff and trade disputes have already been costly to Kansas farmers, but the long-term damage that these disputes are causing to our trade relationships is of greater concern. We support a resolution to the tariffs that damaged markets and lowered the prices not only for corn, but many other ag products, including corn products like red meat and ethanol. We also support a positive conclusion to the renegotiation of NAFTA with our key trading partners Mexico and Canada. Mexico, for example, is the #1 export buyer of U.S. corn, a top buyer of many other ag products, and is a promising market for ethanol exports. The Kansas Corn Commission continues to aggressively support export market development programs and hosts trade teams throughout the year to build relationships with our customers. In our view, by building more trade relationships around the world, we're building not only only our farm economy, but our state and national economies as well. Find out more by following Kansas Corn on social media or by visiting our website at kscorn.com.
This segment brought to you by Kansas Livestock Association, supporting our members' business interests to meet consumers' demands. KLA.org. Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. Grassandgrain.com. Kansas Wheat Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com.
Welcome back. We're at the Kansas Department of Agriculture in Manhattan. Joining us now, Suzanne Ryan-Numrich, who is the International Trade Director for KDA. And Suzanne, we wanted to talk about this new, I guess, NAFTA 2.0 or the USMCA. I'm getting better at that. So, what does that all mean?
Yeah, that's an exciting time for all of our Kansas farmers and those involved in agriculture. Trade's critical to agriculture, as you know, and especially to two of our most important trading partners. Mexico and Canada are our first and third trading partners, respectively. We've done a lot of business with them over the years. So there's a few things that are improved for our Canadian market access. One is dairy, which was kind of surprising to me when I started looking into that. I didn't figure we exported much dairy to Canada or Mexico, but actually we exported a little over 300,000 last year in dairy products to Canada. So we're going to have some improved access in the dairy market. There's going to be some improved access for poultry products into the Canadian market. For our wheat folks, they should be pretty excited about this agreement as well. We sent almost $4 million worth of wheat to Canada in 2017. So it's not just those folks that are close to the border that you've kind of seen in the news. I think our wheat producers will be happy to know their wheat's going to be graded at the same standard that Canadian wheat was graded. Right now, if you trade wheat into Canada, it gets traded at the lowest class possible. So
at feed grade, which I know was absolutely feed grade quality, which was just really a point of contention.
Yeah, so we're excited about that. There are some other things in the Canadian market access that will improve for wine. Unfortunately, Kansas hasn't exported any wine to Canada that we were able to find. So maybe under the new agreement, we might find some Kansas wineries interested in that.
Well, and I guess that's maybe as you're going through all this. I know it's a thick document trying to get it done from Congress, so this thing will go into effect. Looking at it just right off the bat, are there some things that we might see more opportunities maybe the Kansas producers need to look at that may play favorable with this new agreement?
I think the wheat one is interesting. You don't think necessarily about selling wheat into Canada. The poultry industry, even hatching eggs, will have the same access it had before. There's going to be access for another 10 million dozen eggs into Canada. So for those egg producers in Kansas, that's exciting. Maybe an opportunity they haven't really looked at before. Okay. There's going to be zero tariffs on products that were previously zero tariff in the NAFTA agreement, so I think that's good. There's going to be new agreements on biotechnology, which is exciting. So the NAFTA agreement was 24 years old, and so it didn't really cover a lot of those things that are important to our Kansas farmers, people who produce seed especially. So.
Okay. All right, Suzanne. Well, thanks for the update. Appreciate it. We'll talk again more as we learn more.
Sure, sounds good. Thanks for stopping by.
Suzanne Ryan-Numrich has joined us. She is the International Trade Director for the Kansas Department of Agriculture. Stay with us. We'll have more on the Kansas Ag Report.
This segment brought to you by Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farmers and ranchers since 1919. KFB.org. Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. Grassandgrain.com. Kansas Wheat Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com.
Welcome back. Joining us now is Aaron Harries with Kansas Wheat. And Aaron, we want to talk to you about a couple of trade developments. One, the USMCA, the kind of the NAFTA 2.0, if you will. What kind of impact will that have on the Kansas wheat farmers?
It's huge. I mean, it's a big relief, I'm sure, to farmers that we have this at least in the process now. Of course, it still takes congressional approval. It's very important to us and to our farmers that NAFTA stays in place until that happens, or if it does happen. But what it does is it really reinforces our business with our customers in Mexico. They've been a little bit leery about what was going on with the trade talks. Our wheat exports had decreased a little bit. But now I think there's optimism. We can go back to our customers and say, hey, we've got a good deal in place, at least with Mexico, basically the same deal. No tariffs, zero tariffs on that, and some equalization of some other regulatory things. But for the most part, it's a good deal. So
really, certainty has kind of been the buzzword, if you will, of all this. Some certainty maybe to Kansas wheat farmers.
It certainly has been. Yeah, that's been the unknown question out there. We knew that going without a trade agreement would be devastating. There's just too much competition for wheat in the global marketplace right now. We started seeing some Russian wheat going to Mexico. That's a bad indicator for us. You know, that's a pretty price-sensitive market, and logistically, we should be the best source of wheat going into Mexico, and I think we'll maintain that now.
Another issue that we're maybe see some movement on is the U.S. and Japan are going to be meeting here before too long. That's another good market, could be, for Kansas wheat.
Sure. I mean, Japan's been the largest importer of U.S. wheat for a long time now, and the Trans-Pacific Partnership, our competitors are part of that, Canada and Australia. And so the news that the Trump administration at least is working towards a bilateral agreement is very significant. Otherwise, we're going to get edged out of that market because tariffs are going to start decreasing on Canadian wheat in Japan. So we really need some positive movement on that front.
As we look at this whole situation, the world market is still seemingly more priced, but when countries really want quality, they still come back to the U.S., correct?
They do. They come to us for quality and a consistent supply of that quality. I mean, it's going to be repeatable about what they get. They're going to appreciate the product, how it functions, and the products that they're selling to their consumer.
All right. Well, this fall, it's been a wet one getting next year's crop in.
Yeah, it's really this tale of two seasons now in planting. We had a lot of acres planted before this rainy period, and so we'll see. A lot of it's dependent on how fast we can get that soybean crop off to go back with wheat acres after that. So I guess it's just a wait-and-see game right now.
Thanks for your update, Aaron. Thanks.
Thank you.
Aaron Harries with Kansas Wheat has joined us. Stay with us. We'll have more coming up.
All over the country, more and more communities are making the change to biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil. And the decision continues, improving the health and welfare for millions of Americans while adding billions to our national economy.
What does a brighter, more sustainable future look like in our cities and towns, and how do we get there? When New York needed an alternative fuel source to reduce carbon emissions, the city found what it needed in biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil.
Many seed companies claim to offer the latest genetics, but how many have tested those genetics in soils just like yours? The Oldie Seed Know to Grow research program has fully tested the latest seed genetics in soils that are right in your neighborhood. The Oldie Seed Know to Grow program can recommend the best performing hybrids from technologies like Enlist, Extend, and Liberty Link that will optimize the yield and profit of every acre on your farm. Contact Oldie Seed today.
Spring is sprung, and Premier Farm & Home has what you need to keep your yard crabgrass free throughout the season. With a complete line of pre-emergents, you can stop crabgrass before it starts. Premier Farm & Home, 900 Southwest University Boulevard, or find them on the web at heycow.com.
Researchers at Kansas State University are using gene editing to affect traits in wheat in a positive way. Professor Edward Akanoff has recently published a study in which they have successfully increased seed size in a cultivar of wheat. He says this is our first product that shows that the system works and that we can effectively apply it and affect a trait in wheat in a positive way. Gene editing is a technology that gives scientists the ability to improve an organism's DNA, essentially by repairing a gene that is producing an undesirable outcome. K-State scientists have evaluated the entire wheat genome to identify individual genes that affect such traits as disease resistance, drought tolerance, and seed size, then use a protein known as CRISPR-Cas9 to introduce changes into a DNA code. CRISPR-Cas9 acts as a sort of molecular scissors to cut out the undesired part of a target gene or introduce new parts with improved properties. Wei Wang, a postdoctoral research assistant in Akanoff's lab, spent much of the last 4 years analyzing and editing genes that could be used to improve future wheat varieties. He said he has a set of 25 to 30 genes that are in the project's pipeline, ready to be implemented in the breeding cycle in the next several years. Kansas wheat farmers are supporting this research through the Kansas Wheat Commission's two-penny wheat assessment.
What if sustainability were synonymous with U.S. soy? If energy efficiency, water quality, and soil health help define U.S. soy's value, that future is here, the time is now. To meet end-user demands, the soybean checkoff is committing to sustainability that's achievable, worthwhile, and enduring. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.
Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture, represents grassroots agriculture. The state's largest and most powerful farm organization stands up for its members through leadership development, agriculture education, legal defense, environmental advocacy, farm safety, and risk management. Members also enjoy money-saving benefits. To join our organization today or to learn more, go to www.kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
What does a brighter, more sustainable future look like in our cities and towns, and how do we get there? When New York needed an alternative fuel source to reduce carbon emissions, the city found what it needed in biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil.
Many seed companies claim to offer the latest genetics, but how many have tested those genetics in soils just like yours? The Oldie Seed Know to Grow research program has fully tested the latest seed genetics in soils that are right in your neighborhood. The Oldie Seed Know to Grow program can recommend the best performing hybrids from technologies like Enlist, Extend, and Liberty Link that will optimize the yield and profit of every acre on your farm. Contact Oldie Seed today.
Keith Miller. I'm from Great Bend, Kansas. I farm and ranch there. I have the opportunity to serve on the county and state committees, and now I'm on the board of directors for Kansas Farm Bureau. I enjoy working with people and trying to make a difference in their lives in agriculture, and that is the reason why I do what I do. I've been deeply involved for many, many years, and enjoy seeing the different friends that we've made all over the U.S. The primary that we just completed is one of the most important primaries that this state has ever had. The difference in the candidates, what they stand for, and what effect they will have on agriculture is huge. And that's why we need to be so deeply involved in those primaries. We need to get our members out and vote and let them have a voice in what happens. Most people don't realize it, but 4 counties in this state can control the legislature. And so the only way we can let our voice be out there is get out and vote. And that's what we are trying to send the message to all of our members is get out, get involved, and be a voice for agriculture.
What does a brighter, more sustainable future look like in our cities and towns, and how do we get there? When New York needed an alternative fuel source to reduce carbon emissions, the city found what it needed in biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil.
Many seed companies claim to offer the latest genetics, but how many have tested those genetics in soils just like yours? The Oldie Seed Know to Grow research program has fully tested the latest seed genetics in soils that are right in your neighborhood. The Oldie Seed Know to Grow program can recommend the best performing hybrids from technologies like Enlist, Extend, and Liberty Link that will optimize the yield and profit of every acre on your farm. Contact Oldie Seed today.
Registration is open for the KLA convention, which will be held November 28th through the 30th in Wichita. Those attending the convention will hear from Kansas City Chiefs play-by-play announcer Mitch Holthus at the opening banquet. The Smith Center native and 8-time Kansas Sportcaster of the Year will share memorable stories he's witnessed in sports and explain how those lessons translate to business and life. Holthus, whose presentation is sponsored by Microtechnologies and Zoetis, also will talk about prospects for the Chiefs as the team enters the stretch run of the regular season and prepares for the playoffs. Holthus has been the voice of the Chiefs since 1994. Prior to that, he called play-by-play for Kansas State University football and basketball. Holthus graduated from K-State with degrees in journalism and business administration. Other items on the KLA convention agenda are Beef Industry University, which will include discussions on cattle traceability and sustainability, committee and council meetings where policy issues will be talked about and voted on, and the election of new leadership for the association. Members should have received convention registration information in the mail. Registration also is available online at www.kla.org. The early registration deadline is November 16th.
Good morning, I'm Darren Van Vactor with Paragon Ag. The trade war continues on. President Trump followed through with his plan to levy an additional 10% tariff on $200 billion worth of Chinese goods earlier this week. There was a bit of a twist to the plan, as the 10% actually ratchets up to 25% by year's end. China quickly responded with a new proposed tariff on $60 billion of U.S. goods as well. We'll have to wait out the trade dispute as both sides seem to be getting further away from resolving their differences as opposed to coming closer together. These latest developments have coupled with a bearish USDA report to push the market to fresh new lows in both corn and beans on the week. Wheat has felt the effects on the December contract, but the December contract is holding its previous lows. Cattle have been the bright spot over the past week, pushing to fresh highs for many of the monthly contract. The question becomes, can we hold the latest move, or is a pullback in store for us? Summer grilling season is starting to slow down. So what's next? Attention will be heavily focused on the numbers from Friday's cattle on feed report. These markets can be unforgiving at times, but this year there is some assistance. Make it a priority to speak with your FSA office or visit farmers.gov to investigate the information you'll need to qualify for the Farmers Aid package. Every year is unique and every operation has its challenges. If you have questions, we'd be happy to help. Give us a call here at Paragon Ag Advisors, 888-452-8751. I'm Darren Van Vactor. Be safe and have a great week.
Agriculture information on your computer or mobile device. News and views on grains, livestock, policy, and opinions from newsmakers can be found by liking Agview on Facebook, and on Twitter, follow Agview News, a reliable and relevant source. Agview.net.
Closed captioning brought to you by The Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers. KansasSoybeans.org. Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farmers and ranchers since 1919. KFB.org. Kansas Wheat Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for wheat. Online at kswheat.com. Kansas Livestock Association, supporting our members' business interests to meet consumers' demands. KLA.org.
Spring is sprung, and Premier Farm and Home has what you need to keep your yard crabgrass free throughout the season. With a complete line of pre-emergents, you can stop crabgrass before it starts. Premier Farm and Home, 900 Southwest University Boulevard, or find them on the web at heycow.com.
What if sustainability were synonymous with U.S. soy? If energy efficiency, water quality, and soil health help define U.S. soy's value, that future is here, the time is now. To meet end-user demands, the soybean checkoff is committing to sustainability that's achievable, worthwhile, and enduring. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture, represents grassroots agriculture. The state's largest and most powerful farm organization stands up for its members through leadership development, agriculture education, legal defense, environmental advocacy, farm safety, and risk management. Members also enjoy money-saving benefits. To join our organization today or to learn more, go to www.kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.
All over the country, more and more communities are making the change to biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil. And the decision continues, improving the health and welfare for millions of Americans while adding billions to our national economy.
What does a brighter, more sustainable future look like in our cities and towns? And how do we get there? When New York needed an alternative fuel source to reduce carbon emissions, the city found what it needed in biodiesel made from U.S. soybean oil.
Well, that's our show this week. Be social with us online at kansasagreport.net, Facebook, and Twitter. We also have the audio version of the show on castbox.fm. Search Kansas Ag Report. I'm Ken Rogers. Thanks for watching the Kansas Ag Report. We'll see you next week.